There's a lot of options out there for your paver jointing material. Let's talk about which one is best for your project and why.
There's 4 real everyday options for guys. The number one by far is still PolySweep. Your polymeric sands are your best choices for the majority of your jobs. Easy to install, easy to train the guys how to do it, works in all sorts of joint sizes. In our product line, we have the regular PolySweep and the wide joint PolySweep. It's important to remember that wide joint PolySweep will do everything you need it to do. You can get everything out of one bag. Makes it easier for the guys, easier for inventory and things like that.
What is the difference between wide joint and narrow joint?
It's the exact same sand, so we're using the same aggregates. The regular PolySweep will do up to about a 3/4 inch wide joint. The wide joint PolySweep has the same sand in it, but has twice as many polymers, and that'll do up to 4 inches. So whatever you can do with the regular PolySweep, you can also do with the wide joint.
Your crews could be installing pavers, or they could be installing with something with a wider joint like flagstone.
Flagstone, porcelain, driveways, overlays, you can do everything out of that one extreme wide joint bag.
So you're almost recommending that guys just stock the extreme wide joint because it can take on all the joints as opposed to having 2 different things in their inventory.
Yeah, just simplify your processes, make it easy for the guys. We just use this sand, we use this sand for everything. If the guys are stocking it, if they're buying it by the pallet, then they can have a couple of colors in stock that does everything that they're going to need to do in their job.
PolySweep being number 1, what would you say is number 2?
We've got the resin sands have really hit the market about 10 years ago, I would say. It's a great solution. Ours is called HydroSweep. It's a great tool in the toolbox. The biggest difference when we look at polymeric sands is the polymeric sands are designed to get wet and dry and wet and dry. And so many of our sites are wooded, or we're utilizing the space to get under the deck, which is great, or it's the north side of the house, and there's no polymeric sand on the market that's going to do well in those situations when they stay constantly wet.
Hey everyone, quick reminder, check out our free joint material selection tool at hardscapementor.com. Just fill in your project specs and we'll tell you exactly which joint materials will work best. Now back to the video.
Because it can't fully dry.
They can't fully dry. So you're going to get organic growth, you'll get a shorter lifespan out of the polymeric sands. With the resin sands, really don't care. They're drainable or permeable, and they're a resin as opposed to a polymer. So it's a completely different chemistry. So you can have all those sites that aren't conducive to polymeric sand. The resin sands are going to perform much, much better. There's restrictions on it. They have joint minimum and maximum sizes. Ours does about the smallest on the market. With the HydroSweep, we can go down to about 1/8 of an inch, but it gives you that ability to get some permeability and also handle these difficult sites. And you can install this wet. You can install it if it's going to rain or has rained. So it offers some expandability in your scheduling as well. You know, we even have colors that are compatible between PolySweep and HydroSweep
for certain sections of the
project. So you could do a PolySweep on the majority of it and HydroSweep in other areas, and the colors are close enough that you could pull that off.
What is the third option that we're going to talk about?
Number 3 would be the older method of joint sand stabilizing. You're basically putting in a dry sand that meets the ASTM C144 spec. You're sweeping it in and compacting it and blowing it just like you do PolySweep. We have all the same colors and non-polymeric jointing sand that we do in PolySweep. So there's a bunch of choices designed like
same sand, it just doesn't have the polymers in it.
Exactly. And then we're going to seal over the top of that. And we have several sealers in our product line that are joint sand stabilizing sealers. So I can use them to just seal the surface of the paver and not worry about the sand, or with a little bit different installation method, I can also seal the top of the paver as well as lock that joint sand in like you would a polymeric sand. We're going to use a little bit more sealer, but we're adding the polymers after the fact, which is great. It saves us a return trip out. If you're already going to seal the job, it's a great option for that as well.
So then the benefit is you don't have to come back, right? Because if we use polymeric sand, we have to put in the polymeric sand, let it dry, let it set up, come back with our crew the next day
or two when the sand is dry,
and seal it. So to get off the site in the last day, we already sold the sealer. We're just going to put in the jointing sand. We're going to seal the pavers, and we're going to lock that sand in the same time. You have one more option to talk about, right?
The 4th option is the Perm Chip. And this is really specific to certain types of pavers, certain types of applications. We need a truly permeable paver or a flagstone with wider joint. The chips are, 3/8 of an inch roughly. They're ASTM number 9 spec. They're specifically for permeable jobs. They allow a massive amount of water to get through the joints into your open graded base and through the system. It's a simple process. The chips are cleaned and dried and bagged, and you just dump it in, sweep it in, and compact it. On residential jobs, you may need to add the SB-1000 Perm Chip stabilizer to keep those locked in so they're not migrating out around pools or animals and things like that.
So obviously with the perm chips, we have to be using an open graded base foundation for that water to come through the joint and then continue to go through our open graded base, right?
Absolutely, and I would recommend that with the resin sand as well. We could use it on a dense graded base, but either of these options, we're now allowing moisture into your base, which in freeze-thaw climates could increase your movement and things like that. So definitely the drainable or permeable options with the resin sand and the perm chips, I would recommend the open graded base.
So just something to consider, right? When you're putting your designs together, when you're putting your construction notes together, what kind of base material is going into this job as well, right? And then that leads to the kind of joint filler that you're going to put in there.
Exactly.
So now that you've learned why and where to use each one of these joint filler products, if you want to learn how to install each one of the products that we mentioned, be sure to check out the tutorials on hardscapementor.com. And then also be sure to hook up with your SEK rep in your market, get them out on your site, and have them train your crew for the first time you do each one of these.